Yo, how's everybody doing? Perico the artist here. It's been a while. Uh, I've been busy and lazy and trying to wait until this world chills out a little bit, but just keeps getting weirder and weirder. So I thought might as well make a video. So this video is titled Painting Half Blind, and well, firstly, I have terrible eyesight. I'm like right in the line of being illegal to drive without glasses, and I have light sensitivity among other things wrong with my eyes. And what happened is I also got injured. I was working on another project and I was trying to like fix it. Well, there's gonna be a lot of wind at night, and I was trying to fix something, but during that time there was no wind. I go outside, I forget my protection gear, and I remember looking back and being like, whatever. So I grabbed this aluminum wire, and out of nowhere, there's this wisp of wind, and it hits me right in the eye. And then just like that, I couldn't see. Like everything turned white. And I ended up going to the ER after I fixed my project. And it was damaged. I was very lucky, nothing too harsh. And what happened was that I needed to be in a dark room for 24 hours, first of all. And then it would take like around a week for me to see better again. And then 3 to 4 months for it to heal properly. And here's where I kind of messed up a little bit, is that I wasn't completely honest with the people around me. I actually could see a lot less than what I was saying I could see. And, just not to worry anybody. But I did end up finishing the painting just like that. And as I tend to be a workaholic, I guess. And it's just, I felt too anxious being trapped at home and waiting for this thing to heal, right? So I just kind of went at it, and I was able to finish this painting. Obviously, it turned out right. So I guess I'll explain a little bit on why my theories are and how I can still be very detail oriented and not see very well. So stay tuned for that. Let's get started, shall we? So, something that I did forget to mention is that I couldn't see for a long time because I didn't wear glasses for like almost a decade at some point. And I didn't get glasses until like a year ago. And I was still making a lot of art before that. And that's, for me at least, the impressive part, and the shocking part is that I was able to make all that art all that time without glasses. I'll let you know which part of the painting I ended up doing half blind when we get there. As for the color scheme, I ended up going with something inspired by Frida Kahlo, and to be more specific, it's inspired by her house titled La Casa Azul, and the internet suggests that it's cobalt blue, so that's the color I applied, but it didn't look right, and after further examination, I realized that wasn't the correct color. I did a little bit of a deeper search, and it's either Bristol Ultramarine or the Moroccan blue, and those were a lot more difficult to find, so I ended up using a combination of 3 different kinds of blues to get a tone that I wanted, and a blue that was a little more pleasant to the eye. I decided to add a yellow rose in between the reds and the blues because in La Casa Azul There are yellows here and there, and it's a beautiful explosion of color and contrast between the creamy, soothing yellow and that very powerful, overpowering blue that is all over the house. So the face paint is very symbolic and very representative of the Dia de los Muertos celebration, the Day of the Dead. And usually these women who dress up with the face paint and these beautiful, dark, rich colored clothings and dresses are called Catrinas. And for this Catrina, I decided that she would be wearing less clothing, and I don't really want to explain why. I feel like that's up to you, the viewer, to decide. After a long struggle of trying to find the right blue, I ended up using 3 different kinds of blues, and those are turquoise, cobalt, and phthalo blue. It's a combination of all 3 constantly, sometimes one more than the other. For example, in the top, more turquoise than anything else, and on the bottom, more phthalo blue than anything else. Okay, so right here is where I started painting the rest of this painting half blind. And my theory is I see a lot of color and a lot of contrast, and sometimes even light bothers me so much I have to wear shades. And usually people think I'm hungover, and sometimes that's the case. But most of the time it's really because the light bothers me. And it's always been that way for me, and I just never really thought much of it. And I didn't really go to the eye doctor that frequently, but when I finally did, it seemed that I had trained myself to distinguish things by color, shapes, and shadows and things like that. That eye exam that they give you when you have to cover one eye, and they point at a big letter and you say the letter, and then they point at smaller letters and smaller letters, and you have to keep guessing. Well, let's say it gets really small and it's extremely blurry, and I can still tell it's an A, and it's really hard to explain, but it's extremely blurry. I can't really see it at all. But based on the space in between the letter, right, I'm like, that's, I think, a triangle. And then there's space on the bottom, and then using the contrast between the black and the white, I can tell that I could somehow figure out that that's an A. And I know some of you are going to say, well, that's how vision works, dumbass. Well, it's kind of harder to explain than that, because I really can't see that. I can just figure it out somehow based on other clues and things like that. My teacher from high school used to always say that a good artist is just a good observer. And I think about that more frequently as an adult, because I realize that that's correct. A good observer visually and a good observer emotionally, I feel like. And I think that's how I can see things, and that's how I can be as detailed as I am, because I feel like I'm always observing things to a ridiculous degree. Sometimes I feel like it can be unhealthy. For example, we were camping one time, and I remember just staring at the fire and trying to figure out what it was doing to the light and how it was moving and why it was moving that way. And I got lost just staring at the fire for over an hour. And I feel like that's how I observe everything constantly. Sometimes it's super annoying because I'll space out and get lost while I'm staring at a texture, for like 30 minutes. Anyways, it was really hard for my eye doctor to find the right prescription, and he had to try different kinds of tests to find what my eyes really needed. And the machine that ended up working for me was this machine that you had to click a button every time you see like dots or shapes pop up or something like that. And that has something to do with your reactionary time. I have no idea how these things work, but it ended up working for me, and that's the point. So anyways, you're probably wondering, that's a cool story or whatever, but Perico, how will this help me become a better artist, right? Well, here's my tip. Learn how to be a better observer. Before starting on your piece, don't just worry about what it's going to look like. Next time, ask, what is it going to sound like? What is it going to smell like? What would it taste like? And what would it feel like? And I promise you, you'll get better. So there you have it. I hope you liked this video. If you didn't, well, sorry. If you liked the art piece, you can find the print at pericotheartist.com. If you want to follow more of my art, go to my Instagram at pericotheartist. And if you want to stay tuned for more, I'll be uploading more hopefully soon. Hasta luego. Bye.